Lies have consequences, and big lies have bigger consequences. The biggest lie surrounding the events of January 6th is the idea that Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick was murdered and intentionally killed by the so-called Trump insurrectionists, the rioters, the terrorists. Now, the truth is, that's not what happened. The truth is, nobody hit Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick on the head with a fire extinguisher, as the New York Times reported, by the way, with knowing deceit. I say with knowing deceit because the New York Times had video. There's no inch of the Capitol that isn't under video surveillance. There never was a video of anybody hitting Sicknick on the head. But so the New York Times did what it normally does, is it quoted unnamed officials saying that it happened. A brazen lie, but one that was magnified to such an extent that even now on social media, I'll have people generally showing me amorphous pictures of people pushing their way with Capitol police officers on the other side. Nobody even knows if it's Sicknick, but they're like, see, look at this, Dinesh, here's the insurrection in full swing. So these are kind of deceptively edited, context-lacking, you may say bogus, images intended to prove something that they manifestly don't prove. Now, once the fire extinguisher lie was exposed, the second lie, which came quickly on its heels to salvage the first one, was that Sicknick had been sprayed with bear spray, which caused him to have such a tumultuous physical reaction that he, just basically died shortly thereafter. Now, this turns out to be sort of nonsense number two. First of all, he wasn't in fact sprayed with bear spray. And second of all, if he was, bear spray doesn't in fact do this to you. It doesn't kill you, and it didn't kill Brian Sicknick. How do we know this? Because we have the report of the medical examiner. After a long delayed, in-depth autopsy, he concludes that Brian Sicknick died of, quote, natural causes, end quote. The man had a stroke. Now, you could, of course, try to come up with lie number 3 and go, wait a minute, Dinesh, isn't it possible that the stress of the events of January 6th caused him to have a stroke? Well, I suppose that is possible, but police jobs are stressful. People who go into the police know that. And so the idea that stress killed you is not exactly something that you lock people up for. But there are, in fact, two people, George Tanios and Julian Cater, who are sitting as we speak in solitary confinement, locked up, denied bail, in fact, by District Court Judge Thomas Hogan, a Reagan appointee, I'm sorry to say. And this guy goes, they attacked uniformed police officers and I can't get around that. So he refuses to release them, even though these are people with no previous criminal record. They did not, in fact, even go into the Capitol. It's not even clear that they used bear spray at all. Because while there's an allegation that they did that, there is, in fact, no clear video evidence that they used bear spray on anyone, let alone on Brian Sicknick. And yet they have all these charges against them. Conspiracy for pre-planning the assault on a federal officer, quote, carrying a, quote, dangerous and deadly weapon. And for this, these two guys who have been found guilty, by the way, of nothing, are sitting locked up for 23 hours a day in a closed room by themselves. Something that I regard as a form of torture. Now, first of all, just contrast this with all the Antifa and BLM guys who burned St. John's Church, are setting fire to things in Portland, attacking policemen. They're carrying dangerous weapons. These are people who are insurrectionists, if the term has any meaning. They're trying to overthrow the government. That's their ideology. And yet, they're not locked up. They're catch and release. They're out on bail. Very often, they're not prosecuted at all. So the staggering double standard is, on the one hand. So the point I'm trying to get at is that the lying narrative about Sicknick, and I'm very sorry to say that the Sicknick family has now become part of this. Gladys Sicknick, the officer's mother, who, by the way, maintained a dignified silence for months. Why? Because I think she knew, A, Sicknick was actually a Trump supporter, and B, the circumstances surrounding his death did not point to any kind of intentional murder or even assault on Sicknick. The family knows that. So I don't know what their motives are. Is it that they got this great public ceremony and they kind of feel obliged to do this? Is it the case that they know George Floyd's family got $27 million from the government and they're like, hey, wait a minute, our guy isn't black, he's white, but maybe there's some money in it down the road if we take this stance, because when there's wrongdoing, the government can then move into action and basically start forking over cash our way. I don't know what their motives are at all, but what I do know is that these people are lying, and the effect of their lies is that other guys are now sitting alone in jail, being tortured even prior to trial. And this is the real crime. This is the crime that pretends to be an effort to prevent crime. And this is what's going on with January 6th. I think the real idea here, and I'm now quoting again from the prosecutors, they go, the defendants caused the historic events of January 6th, and they are thus a danger to our society and a threat to the peaceful functioning of our community. Really? How? How are they a threat to the continuing of our democracy and the, quote, peaceful functioning of our community? These two guys are going to prevent the peaceful functioning of an entire nation of 300 million plus people? So the temperature of the rhetoric, its absurd hyperbole, its utter detachment from facts, visible facts that we can all see and judge for ourselves, makes the events of January 6th a scandal, but not in the way that the Biden administration or the government intends.